Keep everyone waiting. Sorry for that delay. Um, Good to see everybody. So I will jump right on in. Good to see our counselor here with us as well. Thank you for being here and everyone who's here. We want to start by pointing out the fact that Montgomery has been getting recognized and really a lot of the great work that all of our employees here have been doing is really, hey, Shay, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome back. That we have been really recognized by global organizations for the work that we're doing here. And that is because of the hard work and dedication of so many city employees, but also community partners. And last week, the Bloomberg Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit was held, and we're becoming known as a city of technological innovation. This summit challenged invited guests to join in the effort to scale cutting-edge climate solutions. And so this brings me to a major announcement from a couple of weeks ago, and that is the importance of Montgomery's selection as one of 25 cities across the nation to participate in the prestigious Bloomberg American Sustainable Cities Initiative. It's something that cannot be understated. This is an incredible honor and a testament to the resilience, innovation, and determination of our community to build a sustainable future for our residents. You know, as we think about some of the tragedy that has happened with the recent hurricane, Helene, we're seeing more and more impacts from climate change. And cities are having to really think through what are going to be our proactive steps that we can take, not only to deal with storms and more frequent situations like that, but also what can we do to build more resiliency in our communities, in our planning, in our implementation. And this initiative launched by Bloomberg Philanthropies comes at a pivotal moment for cities like ours. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue. It's a challenge that touches every aspect of our lives, from our economy and infrastructure to the health and well-being of our neighborhoods. This selection empowers Montgomery to design and implement transformative solutions that will address climate change, enhance economic opportunities, and strengthen our respective communities. Through this groundbreaking program, we will receive multi-year, deep support and technical assistance to develop climate solutions that are tailored to our city's unique needs. As part of this initiative, we hope to leverage some of the more than $400 billion of new federal funding available for our community. The funds come through initiatives like the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the Inflation Reduction Act, and the American Rescue Plan. Our participation in this initiative means we will have up to 3 dedicated innovation staff members who will work closely with City Hall, community partners, and residents. These experts will bring crucial skills in data analysis, policy development, community engagement, and human-centered design to help us craft solutions that promote equity and create opportunities for all Montgomery residents. I want to take this moment to thank Bloomberg Philanthropies for its leadership and support of cities like ours. Their commitment to helping cities creates a more sustainable future for all of us. I also want to thank our community for its continued commitment to progress. This initiative represents a powerful collaboration between the public and private sectors working together to secure a better future for generations to come. As we move forward, we will continue to work together with our residents and partners to build a Montgomery that is climate resilient, economically thriving, and socially inclusive. As the president of the African American Mayors Association, I'm proud to say Montgomery is already becoming known as a city focused on equity and technological innovation. Montgomery has a long history of standing at the forefront of progress, and today we're leading the charge in building a tech ecosystem that fosters innovation and opportunity. Because of this, I was asked to take part in a panel discussion about digital equity organized by BGR Group and Microsoft last Thursday. Montgomery, being known for its role as the birthplace of the civil rights movement, we're now working to be just as bold to lead in areas of innovation and digital equity. The digital divide isn't just about who can get online. It's about much more. It's about access to opportunity. In this rapidly advancing AI economy, technology is driving everything from jobs to education and even healthcare. To ensure that our residents have the tools, knowledge, and skills to thrive in this new landscape is not a matter of fairness, but it's a matter of economic survival. Every resident deserves a fair shot at success in this digital era. In Montgomery, we have made significant strides toward bridging the digital divide, but we know we have much more to do. We have to complete our broadband map and figure out how we fulfill some of those areas that don't have access to high-speed internet for all the basic needs that they want, much less those that are luxuries. We've made great effort in attracting investments in fiber infrastructure, ensuring that internet access is reliable and affordable. But there's still more that we can do to work together with our citizens in the city of Montgomery. There's more we can do from a local, state, and federal level to make it more accessible for those who are having challenges to access high-speed internet. And so these things have been game changers in attracting the fiber infrastructure, providing families and businesses with the connectivity they need to succeed. Beyond that, we've launched programs to improve digital literacy for residents of all ages, whether it's students preparing for the future or seniors learning how to navigate digital services. But access to technology is only one piece of the puzzle. Digital equity also means building an ecosystem where people can use technology to innovate and shape the future. That helps our young students, the creators, the entrepreneurs, and certainly our small businesses, mid-sized and large businesses as well. That's why we're also working to foster a thriving tech ecosystem right here in Montgomery, partnering with our local universities, businesses, and other cities to bring the best minds together and empower our community to compete in the AI era. We're determined to make sure that no one is left behind as AI reshapes the world around us. Our journey is not finished, but we're proud of the foundation that we are currently laying. And we're not doing this alone. Partnerships with organizations like Microsoft are key to our success, and I look forward to continuing the collaboration. I'm also eager to learn from other cities and to share best practices in digital equity as I learn from my colleagues on this past Thursday from St. Louis and Cleveland, respectively. This allows us to move forward in a way that brings about better access and better outcomes to all of our residents. I believe digital equity is a solvable problem. By making strategic investments in infrastructure, promoting digital literacy, and supporting innovation, we can build communities where everyone has a chance to thrive in the AI age. Now, transitioning to an issue that has become all too familiar to us, and that which is access to guns. Recently, the City Council assisted us and passed the gun ordinance here that has stirred a lot of conversation, not only around the state, but also around the country. And what we have seen is that local municipalities are starting to take action that other branches of government refuse to do. I thank our city councilman for doing just that, in passing this ordinance in a bipartisan fashion that addresses one step of trying to rein in the spread of illegal guns in our community. The rise in gun violence in recent years is affecting every community across Alabama. We have an urgent need for common sense gun safety laws in our state. This is the assessment from the Giffords Law Center to prevent gun violence. Quote, Alabama has some of the weakest gun laws in the country and the fourth highest gun death rate. The fourth highest gun death rate. Lawmakers must stop disregarding the safety of their constituents and take action, end quote. That should not make anyone who is here or anyone watching this feel confident that we have the fourth highest death rate in the country here in our state. That's something that we can do something about. But it's going to take all of us willing to come out of our corners to figure out what common sense solutions we can really get behind. Mayors, councils, county commissions, state legislators, everyone, business, faith, and community leaders will all be needed at this table. And so when we think about what the leaders of a city can do to try to protect their residents, my hope is that the Alabama legislature will right the wrong of allowing anyone to carry a loaded firearm in public without fear of the law. Right now, there are 4 laws that have been pre-filed in the legislature. One would ban the possession of a handgun converted into a machine gun. Another would require a person get a permit to carry semi-automatic rifles in public. We all know that Alabama has a proud tradition of protecting our rights, including the right to bear arms. But as we've seen too often in recent years, recent months, recent weeks, and dare I even say recent days, gun violence is claiming the lives of innocent people in our communities. It's now the #1 threat to the lives of young people. So this isn't about politics. This is about saving lives. This is about doing things that people elected us to do, which is not just to coast on the easy solutions, but to address the hard solutions and look for ways to come up with things that really impact how each and every one of our residents is doing across our state, starting right here in the capital city. It's about making sure that responsible gun ownership remains a right while ensuring public safety remains a priority. We know what works: background checks, safe storage laws, and red flag laws. These are not extreme measures. They are smart, effective steps that have been proven to reduce gun violence while respecting the rights of responsible gun owners. Though it's several months from convening, I'm asking the Alabama State Legislature to work with our local delegation right here in Montgomery, Alabama, who has put forth 2 of these bills, to pass common sense gun safety laws that will protect our communities. Our lawmakers can help ensure that we never have to experience the heartbreak of another preventable strategy. Moving on to public safety. I'm glad to share that we continue to see positive trends as it relates to public safety. I want to thank all of our residents for helping in this effort. And I certainly want to thank those first responders, in particular those in the Montgomery Police Department, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, as well as those at the federal level. We understand that public safety is a top priority, which is why my administration has invested more in the Montgomery Police Department than any previous administration. In total, we have invested more than $9 million into the department. Starting tomorrow, Montgomery Police will get a 15% pay increase. That will take the starting salary up to about $55,000 per year. It's not including bonuses and other things that come along with that for recruitment and retention. That's significant. And this isn't the first pay raise that they received. In 2022, the City Council supported our initiative to give Montgomery police officers a 14.5% pay increase. So when we look at this, we're talking about almost 30% since 2022 in pay increases that we've given to our police department. That's significant, and it's something that we know is richly deserved. But we also know we have to do more in the community. Our officers are doing great work. We've removed more than 1,300 guns from the streets, demonstrating our commitment to a safer environment for all. The homicide rate continues to trend downward. Right now, down about 14% year over year. And as we're seeing the same trend with non-fatal shootings, which are down about 13% year over year. But we know that's not enough. And we know that it's not satisfactory for anyone who has fell victim to gun violence or has been close or near it or who's had a friend, family member, or neighbor that has been impacted by it. And that's why we want to continue to advocate for our commitment to community violence intervention. That's why we want to continue to invest in our Parks and Recreation department and wraparound services and things that will be needed to be proactive and to be also more involved in the community on the front end rather than the back end. But we're proud of the work that our police department is doing because we also maintain a commitment to clearing our city's homicides as we boast a clearance rate nearly 10% higher than the national average. That's coming because people in the community are letting us know what's happening. We're grateful because we can't have eyes and ears in every corner at all times of the day. So we're appreciative of their partnership, and we want to continue that. But now I do want to highlight one area that we're not quite satisfied, that I just had a conversation with former Director of Public Safety and Mayoral Advisor on Public Safety, Chief Lawrence Batiste, Chief Jim Grayboys, as well as Acting Chief Jeremy Reed. And that is property crimes are still too high in our city. We have been a victim of it at our church very recently. We're seeing buildings, we're seeing houses, we're seeing cars broken into. So we're going to ask, again, for the community's help, whether it's with your technology, your cameras and your doorbells, or whether it's just with your eyes and your ears and your willingness to help. If you see something, say something. We have to make sure that a person's property or organization's property or a business's property remains sacred and intact, whether they are open or closed. And we are coming up with additional ways to try to address this issue as we have others that we have seen impacting our community. Property crimes can be distressing because when it's your home that's been burglarized or if it's your car that's been broken into, that feels very personal. And so we want to make sure that you know that's a high priority for us and that we will be tweaking some things to impact and affect the bad guys. Those are things that we're going to continue to monitor through data, and we're going to continue to respond to as well to bring about positive results. And so we'll be sharing more of this with the public in the upcoming weeks and months ahead. Finally, I want to address Dr. Melvin Brown's announced resignation from the Montgomery Public Schools. As I mentioned before, it's a significant transition, one that impacts our community in a major way. His departure marks the end of a period of strong leadership that brought tangible progress to our schools. Dr. Brown's vision and dedication have steered our district in the right direction, helping to make a real difference in the lives of our students. However, it's important to recognize the full context of this resignation. Dr. Brown has made clear that the decision to step down was not just about external things regarding his career or anything else. It was in part driven by challenges that should concern all of us. These challenges include instances of micromanagement from some, not all, of the school board, and regrettably, personal rumors that were spread by a board member. These things should never come into the context of anyone who's holding elected office. This environment, as you can imagine, made it difficult for Dr. Brown to continue leading effectively despite his best efforts to prioritize the needs of our students and the future of our schools. As a parent of 2 students in the Montgomery Public School system, I am deeply grateful for Dr. Brown's leadership. I've seen firsthand his commitment to collaborating, and those things have led to positive results that have improved education for all school children. His leadership has laid a foundation for a brighter future, even amid the challenges he faced. While Dr. Brown's departure is a significant loss, I want to personally thank him for meeting with me on a regular basis to talk about the progress the school system was making, but also some of the challenges that remained and some of the ideas that he had to try to address those. I certainly wish he and his family the best in their future endeavors, and we as a community have to learn from this experience to ensure that our school system continues to prioritize our education, not just what we like and when we like it, but prioritizes public education above all else. And I think that has to be one of the takeaways from this circumstance. So with that said, I will close my remarks and open it up for any questions. Yes. Hi there.
WSFA. You were just talking about Dr. Brown. I know that last week the chamber addressed what they believe is a leadership crisis in Montgomery. What are your thoughts on that? And what do you believe needs to be done moving forward?
Well, I think if there's a board member who currently is sitting on the Montgomery County School Board, they should reside in Montgomery County. So I'll start there. And I think if we have a board member who does not reside in Montgomery County School Board, they should step down. So one, you have to have people who are truly vested in this school system and in this community. Can't play it both ends against the middle. So I think that's number one. I think, too, that the school board has to understand the role of a board and the role of a superintendent. And I think that while training is offered, consistent updating that training is needed. And more importantly, practicing what you learned is needed. So we have to, really challenge the school board to show us a path forward, show us what will change, because I think that quite often people discount quality leadership. And if there's anything that I think that is needed in our public school system, it is strong and qualified leadership. And that's not often something that you can just walk out on the street and find a good superintendent. And I think sometimes when we're considering decisions, we have to think about those consequences and what are the indirect impacts of a decision that may be made. If people are in their feelings about something personal, that should not impact anything professional. Those are things that we have to be able to work out as leaders, as elected officials, to figure out a way to maintain the goals and objectives of whatever body that we are working towards. So changing superintendents 2 years in does not show anyone that our school board is the place of stability. So how do you then attract someone equal or a better quality than the leader you just replaced? I don't know that those things were thought through, because I think that in some cases, some of these issues became personal. And the elected officials have to do a better job of addressing those things that are personal. We're all human, we understand that, but not allowing that to get in the way of the goals and objectives of the organization. So I want to see, one, again, if there's a school board member who does not reside in Montgomery County, that's not a legal resident of Montgomery County, who should not be on the board, then that person, because of whether it be family reasons or professional reasons, should consider stepping down. The second thing is, I think the school board owes the community, everyone, not just the mayor or the chamber or anyone else, but a pathway forward. In particular, those who voted not to renew the contract of Dr. Brown. To me, those are the ones who have the toughest questions to answer, is why didn't you see that he was fit to have his contract renewed, when it seems like most people, whether they elected or whatever level of government or position they had in the community, feel that way. And two, if you saw something different, why weren't we told about that beforehand? Why wasn't there a request for mediation to try to get those things on the right track before you made this decision? And then how do you plan to move forward? And then what I would offer is that whatever that plan is to move forward, that there be a group of community stakeholders made up of elected officials from all branches of our government, as well as community leaders, to be a part of that. I mean an active part in that, because I think all that's going to be needed to really help stabilize what is perceived to be a school board that may not be the most stable and may not be the most reliable, which is going to make it very, very hard to recruit a quality candidate to lead us forward.
And I know that, just following up with that question, I know that Dr. Mackey said the state was going to look at or consider the possible takeover at the chamber's request. What is your thought on that, the possible, intervention of MPS once again?
Yeah, I would hope that we could address that without the state intervening. I would hope that we can have those tough conversations. We had tough conversations a few years ago when it came to raising the ad valorem tax. And we told the community that they should and could expect sound leadership and sound judgment and trust with increasing the ad valorem taxes, which had never been done here. We have to have those same conversations. And we have to get in a room, and we have to be willing to acknowledge what some of the challenges are, what some of the options are for various entities, and then we have to be willing to say, this is how we plan to move forward, so that everyone, not just, again, the Chamber of Commerce, but parents, teachers, staff, the students themselves, feel like the school system is on the right track and will get the type of guidance and leadership that is needed. And again, I think it's very, very important for people to understand roles and responsibilities, what the role of the school board is and what it's not, and what the role of the superintendent is and what it is not.
I guess I'll continue.
Okay.
Question. Crime. You spoke about crime. You know, what is the latest, if you can provide us any details on the search for a new police chief? Can you give us details on how many candidates, how many interviews? Are there any finalists? Are there any names?
Sure. No. Well, let me start from the beginning there. 44 applicants right now, as of the time we close. We'll whittle that down some, and then we will establish a committee like we had 2 years ago of law enforcement professionals and partners, as well as community leaders and our city council president to be a part of that committee to look at those that have been recommended to us from the search firm that we have used. So 44, I think, total applicants, and once we get down to about 10 or so, we'll bring those before the committee, and then we'll bring a much smaller group to the community itself. And I would estimate that this, should conclude certainly within the next 2 months.
Also, the crime suppression unit,
Mhm.
They came out with some new numbers, I believe, last week or the week before last. What is your take on the success of that initiative?
Well, I think it's been very successful. I think anytime you're working with law enforcement and your partners in a more active way, that's going to make a difference. And so, again, we commend Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, as well as our federal partners, U.S. Marshals, ATF, FBI. Everybody has been really, really active in helping us with this. And the community, again, has been active in pointing out certain things and sharing those things with us. So I think that some of the trend that we've seen is a result of that, some of the adjustments that we've been able to make by virtue of collaborating together. And we want to continue to see that. Again, I mentioned the area that we want to see really addressed in a more significant way, and that's property crimes and things along those lines. But certainly, as it relates to some of the other areas around shootings and non-fatal shootings and homicides, we've seen that change. And listen, that's due to a lot of factors, but we aren't satisfied with where we are. We know that there's more work to do, and we know that there's more to making people feel more reflective of where the numbers are, so that they feel safer and they feel there's a sense of order and control in this city. And so I think that our law enforcement community has responded to that in a significant way, and we'll continue to work at that, and we'll continue to seek, again, proactive solutions, as I mentioned, with community violence intervention, our Parks and Recreation program, working with our faith leaders and other nonprofits to go along with that. All right.
I know at I believe it was the previous mayor's presser, you were close to being able to announce something for the west side. Are we any closer to hearing what those plans are?
I'm trying to think what that was now. If so, I'll let you know. I'm trying to think what that. Oh, I know what that was. No, that's still in legal limbo right now, but it's still moving. It's still there. It just hasn't been closed out legally, unfortunately. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's some more good news for Council Riley's district over there. So we got some more coming. We just gotta wait for the lawyers to tell us it's okay. Anything else? Anything, Miguel? I'll leave out anything. Coded? Anything else we need to touch on? Let me just say this one last thing on the superintendent in public education. There's probably nothing more critical in this city besides public education and public safety. So those are the two areas in anything you have to work on the most. Some things you can't control, other things you can. I think what we have to do as a community is make sure that we aren't suffering from self-inflicted wounds when it comes to these areas. And in particular in public education, we've got to be mature adults, and we've got to be responsible elected officials and leaders in the community when it comes to decisions such as positions as critical as your public school superintendent. Good superintendents, nationally recognized superintendents, don't just grow on trees. Now, it's not hard to go fill the position with a body, but the quality of the person, they don't just grow, and those that are there are in demand, and they can pick and choose where the market allows them to go. So I think, we have to make sure we're moving forward that we learn a significant lesson from what's taking place, and I think we're going to have to pay as much, if not more, attention to our public school board meetings as we do our city council meetings. We tend to lose a little focus sometimes there, but when we're thinking about what's happening and what impacts a community, our economic development depends on our public schools. Our military stabilization depends on our public schools. Our growth and wellness as a city depends on our public schools. So all of those things are very, very important. So I hope that those that voted not to renew Dr. Brown's resignation really have, not to renew his contract and accepted his resignation, really have a plan forward. I have not heard it yet. I'm not saying I have to be the first one. I just look forward to hearing it. And I think it needs to be sound. I think it needs to be detailed. I think it needs to be very specific and attainable. So we got to make sure as a community that those board members who made this decision really, really are held accountable for their actions and for ultimately the vote that they took. And we've got to make sure as a community we're all into making sure that the public school system doesn't just revolve around a couple of personalities, but that the public school system revolves around the students in our schools, the parents, the teachers, the staff, and so many other stakeholders that we have that are depending on sound leadership, visionary leadership that will take our public schools in this community in a positive and in the right direction. So I thank you all for coming. Again, I apologize for the delay, but I look forward to sharing some more good news with the city, that we have some more announcements, and as well as addressing some of the challenges that we still are trying to solve from our standpoint. Okay? Thank y'all so much. Have a good day. Thank you.
Excuse me, the county board spoke out about a crisis of leadership, and they were basically saying that they want the state to intervene in the Montgomery public school system. I'm being told now that my audio was turned off there, so I apologize. I'll recap a couple of the things that I said momentarily. But the Montgomery County Chamber was talking about how there's a crisis of leadership in the Montgomery public school system, and they were calling on the state to take over the system. The Montgomery mayor, Montgomery Stephen Reed, is saying that he hopes that the issues with the school system can be addressed without any state intervention. He also touched on a couple of other topics and said that that if there are any county board of education members who do not live in or reside in Montgomery County, they should live here or they should step down. That was the mayor saying that. He also said that that if they don't, that they should resign. Let's touch on the police chief for just a minute. The mayor was talking about crime in the capital city. He spoke about homicides being down 14% year over year, non-life-threatening or shootings that have not resulted in a death. Those are down 13% year over year. So he touted some of those numbers. Also spoke a little bit on the Montgomery Police Chief search, and said that he has 44 applicants currently for police chief. He said that he's going to whittle those down some. He didn't give an exact number on how many he would whittle down before creating a committee. Once the committee is created, they will try to whittle that number down to 10, and then they will try to bring all 10 people in, 10-ish people. He didn't give an exact number, but he said about 10. That they would bring those people in before the committee and the community to try and whittle it down even further. The mayor put a timeline of approximately about 2 months on getting this Montgomery police chief hire in place. That's about all we can give you at this point. We talked with the mayor for about 30 minutes. Excuse me there. We had the mayor on for about 30 minutes, and we will have much more on WSFA 12 News First at 4.